Hello, and it's a blessed morning to you. This is Dr. Bill Bledsoe bringing you another wonderful morning prayer session of your prayers. Said aloud in the privacy of your own home. I just begin them, but you must finish them with your own heartfelt concerns, your walk with God. I believe firmly no one can teach me words that are going to be magically my prayers. I believe our prayers have to come from our own hearts. And when they do, miracles have happened in my life over and over and over. And I would wish the same for you if you just pray every day your heartfelt concerns, get a good close walk with God hand in hand all day long. Miracles will happen to you. It will be amazing. I don't know what they are. They're going to be totally different from mine, but they happen and they will keep happening. So we'll begin with my prayer. Beloved God, I thank you for this wonderful method of prayer, this method of each of us praying aloud while we do body movements. It heals our bodies while our prayers heal our minds, our spirits, and our souls. I thank the generations that have brought this to us from the house of Abraham, the house of David, from Jesus, his mother Mary, Father Joseph, Mary Magdalene, and Virginia Ellen, who wrote the book, Sacred Heart Yoga. Amen. Now, the first two prayers you'll repeat after me, and the rest of them you'll finish on your own. So we'll do the Sacred Heart Yoga morning prayer. If you'll repeat after me. Beloved God, I devote this practice this day to the evolution of my soul, to the fulfillment of my destiny, in service to your love, O God. And I allow myself to be purified of fear. As I rejoice in your kingdom of heaven and your love of me, O God. And I give thanks for these blessings, these moments that I can share with my mind, my body, my spirit, and my soul. In oneness with your love, O God. And so it is. Amen. Om. Now we're going to try to just get rid of our normal fears, distractions. First thing in the morning, we got to get running. We got to do this. We got to do that. Fear of any kind prevents our ability to love. It either distracts us or terrifies us. It does something where we cannot love. Just picture somebody bullying you or holding a gun to your head. I mean, there is no way that you can sit there and love a person that's harming you. It just doesn't work. Fear, when you're afraid of them, it prevents your ability to even love God. So we right here begin by, it's called clearing our energy fields, but we're clearing our minds of all the fears and daily distractions. We do this by doing a motion. Our right arm goes up to the 12 o'clock position. We let it go clockwise to the 3 o'clock position, to our right knee, left knee, 9 o'clock position, and then back up to the 12 o'clock position. As we do this motion, our prayers begin with, God, I clear my energy field of anyone or anything standing within. I bless them and I send them into your love, your light, O God. Om. Now, the rest of the prayers, you'll finish. I'll just start it with a few words. You repeat those words and you finish it with your own heartfelt concerns. And at the end, we tone, say the word Om, whatever frequency, whatever works right for you. We do it together. And then we go on to the next posture and the next prayer. So we begin with putting our right hands over our hearts and asking God, how may we serve you this day? And the answer comes to me in no more than one or two words. Sometimes it's a heartfelt feeling. Sometimes it's nothing, but whatever comes to me, I incorporate over and over through the rest of my prayers. And I always get taught something. I always get some message by the time I'm done praying. So I hope the same thing for you. So we'll take our right hand over our hearts. And here our prayers begin with. That means you repeat what I say and then finish it with your own, anything you need to add to it. Here our prayers begin with, God, how may I serve you this day? Om. Now we're going to stand up and announce out loud what came to us. We do this by standing straight and tall, our arms at our sides, our palms forward. And here our prayers begin with, God, my intention to serve you this day is to Om. Now, in Aramaic, we sealed an oath by saying the word Amen aloud 3 times. Well, here we're going to sing it aloud. Whatever tune works for you, whatever feels right, as loud as you want in the privacy of your own home. We'll sing it aloud 3 times. Amen. 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 Now we sit back down on the mat. And we get back in resting position, which is laying on our backs comfortably, feet outstretched, our arms at our sides comfortably. And we begin by pulling our right knee up to our chest, holding it there with our arms and our hands. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you and I thank you for. Om. Now we hold our right foot in our left hand, pull it over to our left thigh, letting our right knee fall down to the mat. Our right arm gets extended straight above our heads, down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you and I thank you for. Om. Now we take our right foot in our right hand, pull it down near our pelvis. Our left arm gets stretched up straight above our heads, down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you and I thank you for. Om. Now we point our right foot up towards the heavens. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you with all my heart. And I thank you for.
Om. Now we take our right foot and let it fall down to the mat, out to the right side of our bodies. Knee down on the mat, our legs stretched out, our pelvis opened as wide as we can. And our arms fall straight out to the sides from our chest, down to the mat, palms up. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you and I thank you for Om. Now we turn our heads to the right, keeping our shoulders down flat on the mat. We take our right leg and extend it up over our bodies, over to the left side of our bodies, down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you and I thank you for Om. Now we go back to resting position. Feet outstretched, arms at our sides. And we pull our left knee up to our chest, holding it there with our arms and our hands. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true mother, I love you and I thank you for Om. Now we hold our left foot in our right hand over on our right thigh. Let our left knee fall down to the mat. Our left arm gets stretched out straight above our heads, down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true mother, I love you with all my heart. And I thank you for Om. Now we hold our left foot in our left hand and our right arm gets stretched out, straight out above our heads, down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true mother, I love you and I thank you for all. Now we take our left foot up towards the heavens, and here our prayers begin with God, my true mother, I love you with all my heart. And I thank you for all. Now we let our left foot fall out to the left side of our bodies, down to the mat, opening our pelvis as wide as we can, our leg extended. Our arms fall straight out to the sides from our chest, our shoulders, once again, down to the mat, palms up. And here our prayers begin with God, my true mother, I love you. And I thank you for all. Now we turn our heads to the left, keeping our shoulders down flat on the mat. We take our left leg up over across our bodies, over to the right side, down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with God, my true mother, I love you and I thank you for all. Now we go back to resting position, and we're going to this time, for a second time, surrender our fears to God. We're going to try to eliminate our fears by surrendering them over to God, turning them over to God and God's care, so that we can love. We can love people. We can love God. We must get rid of our fears. So here we put our hands under our sit bones, lean forward on our elbows, trying to touch the tops of our heads back down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with God, I surrender to you. Om. Now we lay back down in resting position. And we reach for the heavens with our left hand and let it fall over to the right side of our bodies, stretching our left shoulder. And we take our right hand halfway between our left shoulder, left elbow, and stretch our left shoulder and back farther. And here our prayers begin with: God, in your service, I will choose to Om. Now we take our right hand and reach for the heavens. Let it fall over to the left side of our bodies. And we take our left hand halfway between our right elbow, right shoulder, stretching our right shoulder over farther. And here our prayers begin with: God, in your service, I can Om. Now we go back to resting position and we pull our feet up to our pelvis. And we let our knees fall out to the outside, forming a triangle below our bodies. This is a tabernacle, a house of God. We form a second tabernacle by putting our hands over our hearts in prayer position, extending them up 2/3 of the way up to the heavens. And in this tabernacle, this house of God above our hearts, we find God's beautiful chalice, bubbling over, brimming over with any gift we could ever just want to need or use in service to God. We can have as many gifts as we want, just for the asking. But if we use the gifts for our own self gratification, for our own service to glorifying ourselves, we'll lose them. They'll just vanish. So here our prayers begin with: God, I drink from your chalice, your gifts to me of Om. Now we take our hands above our heads to the tops of our heads down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with. Well, what we do is we let our elbows fall out to the outside, and this forms a tabernacle, a house of God over our whole bodies. And our prayers begin with, God, I thank you for healing my body, my mind, my spirit, and my soul. Om. Now we start the anointing series, which is a series of 4 prayers, and we repeat them twice. And what we're doing is we're thanking God for the gifts He's given us. And we keep our hands in prayer position during both sets of 4 prayers. We start by putting our thumbs up to our foreheads, hands in prayer position, and our prayers begin with, God, I anoint your gifts to me of Om. Now we take our thumbs down to our lips and our prayers begin with, God, I bless and I dedicate them only in service to you, your gifts to me of Om. Now we take our hands down over our hearts in prayer position. And here our prayers begin with, God, I truly thank you for your gifts to me of Om. Now we point our fingers down into our abdomens, extend them out to we do a motion this time. We extend our fingers out to right above our pelvis, and our arms are like the arms of a clock at the 3 o'clock position, our hands still in prayer position. And we go counterclockwise up to the heavens at the 12 o'clock position. and then down over our heads, down to the mat at the 9 o'clock position. As we do this motion, our prayers begin with, God, I fill my body, my mind, my spirit, and my soul with your gifts to me of Om. Now we start the second in the series, and we take our thumbs back to our foreheads, and our prayers begin with, God, I anoint your gifts to me of Om. Now we take our thumbs down to our lips, and our prayers begin with, God, I bless, and I will only use them in your service, your gifts to me of Om. Now we take our hands down over our hearts, still in prayer position, and our prayers begin with, God, I truly thank you for your gifts to me of Om. Now we do the motion, pointing our fingers into our abdomens, extending them out to the 3 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock positions. As we do this motion, our prayers begin with, God, I fill my body, my mind, my spirit, and my soul with your gifts to me of Om. Now we go back to resting position, our legs outstretched, arms at our sides. We cross our right ankle over our left ankle, our right wrist over our left wrist, over our hearts. And here our prayers begin with, God, I truly thank you for always protecting me and for always keeping me safe and all. Now we roll over on our sides and we push ourselves back up into sitting position using our arms and our hands. Here we extend our right leg straight out in front of us, down to the mat, our knee down to the mat. We take our left foot across our right knee and we hold our left knee with our right arm. And we put our left arm behind our backs for support. And here our prayers begin with, well, we twist our heads, our shoulders, and our backs to the left, and our prayers begin with, desire I am, desire I am, desire I am. God, in your service, I desire to Om. Now we switch legs. Left foot goes straight out in front of us, left leg stretched out down to the mat. Our right foot goes across our left knee. We hold our right knee with our left arm. Our right arm goes behind our backs for support. We twist our heads, our shoulders, and our backs to the right. And here our prayers begin with, will I am, will I am, will I am. God, in your service, I will. Om. Now we get up on our knees.
Kneeling straight and tall, we put our hands on our hearts in prayer position. And here our prayers begin with, God, I truly thank you for Om. Now we form a triangle, a tabernacle with our hands by putting the tips of our thumbs together and the tips of our first fingers together. And we put this tabernacle down on the mat in front of us, leaning over in child's pose. We put our foreheads in this triangle. And here we just take a moment to feel God's love surrounding us everywhere, to feel God's love penetrating our bodies, healing our bodies. Om. Now we go back to sitting position. We extend our right foot over to the right side of our bodies, kind of out at a 45-degree angle, knee down to the mat, leg extended. Our left foot comes up to the inside of our right thigh. And here our prayers begin with, God, in your service, I will become Om. Now we take our left leg out to the left side, stretched out, down to our knee down to the mat. Our right foot comes up to the inside of our left thigh. And here our prayers begin with, God, in your service, I am. Om. Now we go back to sitting position. We put our hands on our knees, our thumbs touching our middle two fingers, and we sit up straight and tall, bowing at our pelvis, keeping our back straight. We bow forward, and our prayers begin with, I bow to you, God, for healing my body, my mind, my spirit, my soul. Om. Now we sit back up straight and tall a second time, and we bow forward at our pelvis, keeping our back straight. And here our prayers begin with, I bow to you, my God, my Father, my Mother, the One, the Oneness. Om. Now we sit back up straight and tall a third time. And here we feel where we're grounded down to the mat on the left side and right side of our pelvis. And we feel God's white light of love entering our left side of our pelvis, entering our bodies, filling our legs to the tips of our toes, filling our abdomens, filling our hearts, our lungs, our arms, all the way to our fingertips, filling our throats, our minds with God's love. And the white light goes out the tops of our heads and shoots up straight into the sky for as high as we can possibly imagine. And then it expands out, lighting the whole earth, around the whole earth with God's love. And it rains down upon every living creature. Now we feel on the right side of our pelvis God's blue light of truth, of knowing. God's truth, God's blue light fills our legs to the tips of our toes, and it comes up through our abdomens, filling every cell in our abdomens, fills our hearts, our lungs, and our arms to the tips of our fingers, fills our throats and our minds with always God's truth. And the blue light goes out the tops of our heads and shines up as high as we can imagine up into the sky around us. And then the light spreads out around the whole earth and rains down God's truth on every living creature for them to choose or not to choose. Now we can step up into the light above our heads, stay as long as we want, ask anything we want to ask. But before we leave, we should always ask, God, what do you want me to know this day?